Hello and welcome to another vlog. This is part 2 of the Manchester Flower Festival. It was a 4-day festival and I had the privilege of enjoying these beautiful creations on Sunday and Monday. And as you can see, this is number 8 out of the 9 locations they put out throughout the city centre. And this piece was absolutely stunning. It is indeed the Eiffel Tower. And honestly, these flowers are all beautiful. They were huge. I've never seen such ginormous flowers. Look how big they are. We actually have these pink ones in our garden. So it was really nice to see bees all around Manchester just enjoying these beautiful flowers. Obviously, those of you who are familiar with Manchester will know that Manchester is famous for their worker bees and bee being their symbol. So I thought it was quite fitting to see bees whilst I was there. So this piece was the Eiffel Tower, and what an amazing and stunning piece it was. I would say this was one of my favourite ones as well. It was just beautiful, and the colours and the combinations was just beautifully done. Definitely a treat to those who saw it face to face. So this piece was called Le Romance in Paris, and fittingly so, it was beautiful. The flowers were just out of this world. Did any of you attend? I most certainly did. It was also fantastic to see the RSPCA there, and they were selling badges. I actually have the B badge, but aim is to collect all of them. So this next piece was from the Cloud Gardener, and it's also completed by the students from Manchester Metropolitan University, where they were given a budget of £350 to try and create something sustainable and to showcase how you can utilize small spaces and small gardens to really elevate and brighten up the area. Not only that, but it was also their project to try and show people how they can really go the next step in terms of utilizing small spaced gardens. And this was one of my favorite pieces because it showed sustainability and creativity, and they used a lot of countries as examples. So in here at the top of that box, it collects rainwater, and the rainwater is then used for these plants, and then it then goes down into a little fish pond, as you can see down there. Very clever idea. Everything is filtered through a system so that things aren't overflowing. It was very unique, and the fact that this was all made with a budget of £350 was simply magnificent. As you all know, I love gardening, and this was my favourite piece, and I really enjoyed looking at this piece and this particular section. So as you can see, they've used a palette and they've turned it into like a herb garden or a herb shelf. There was loads and loads of different varieties of herbs. You've got your thyme, mint, rosemary, you name it, they've got it all, and I really took inspiration. Hope to replicate this here at my house as well. Really loved it. And those of you who know about rosemary and marigolds, you know. If you don't, leave a comment and I'll tell you what they're for. This is another floral display. It was in a wheelbarrow this time. Very fitting. Really loved the hyacinth that was there. And this was, of course, the Science Industry Museum. Brains, Body and You was there displaying its brains. There's lots coming up, so during the summer holidays, if you've got kids, feel free to check this out. Very immersive experience and very good for young children. Really gets them into the world of science for sure. What I loved about this particular flower festival, it was all about utilizing small spaces, and this was another beautiful creation. So as you can see, another small garden space. It's all about how they utilize it, and I really loved it. Plants are kept in pots. There was a rainwater collector, and in the background you can see some beautiful water ponds. Stunning. So this one was located in the Royal Exchange, and this is basically a stroll through Amsterdam. So if you've ever been through the Royal Exchange, you know it's a beautiful, beautiful scenery in itself. But they had these fantastic floral displays, and it was inspired by the bright and bold charm of Amsterdam. The arcade has been transformed into an immersive experience that brings the spirit of Netherlands to life, and I most certainly enjoyed it. I was able to wander through the scene straight from the canals of Amsterdam, surrounded by vibrant displays of towering tulips. What I really loved about this particular piece was that the flowers were ginormous. I've never seen such giant flowers. Beautiful, beautiful. Look how big they are. I don't think this video does justice, but this was beautiful. Of course, it definitely reminds me of Amsterdam and its tulip fields. It was stunning to see all these different varieties of tulips and roses and sunflowers. Magnificent. This particular piece was very inspiring. I loved it. I know a lot of people know that tulips don't last long, but let me give you a top tip. If you put a penny, 1p or 2p, at the bottom of your vase and water it and then put your tulips in, they actually last a long time. I was able to make my tulip last a long time. In the printworks, they were doing some bouquet classes, how to make your own floral bouquet. I had the privilege of attending and I made it. It was free, and bearing in mind there was not a lot of people there, it was fantastic. I enjoyed it. There was a lady, she was telling us how to make a bouquet, and it was really, really good. They were able to give us free flowers. I had a couple of roses in mine. So we got to choose some flowers, and it was all about layering. If there's one thing I learned, is layering your bouquets. So definitely a great experience. One I would definitely cherish and use in my future videos for sure. So as you can see, these beautiful flowers, we've got to choose them. And then yeah, this is my beautiful bouquet I made. Not bad if I do say so myself. There was a lot of stalls selling handmade creations. It was beautiful. Not only was it very fragrant, but it was also very caring. It was fantastic for those who are keen gardeners or people who are keen to start their first gardening. It was just such a fantastic experience. Everybody was welcoming, and I guess this was the main attraction, gateway to Oscar. I really enjoyed the flower festival. Thank you so much.